All right, for my second page during our photo week, our story play photo week here, I am using the paper that has the phones on them, and I printed out, I counted wrong, of course. I'm like, there's 8. No, there's only 6. So I'm going to pick 6 of these. These are both peonies and roses, so I'm telling the story of kind of what's happening out in the yard right now. I'm pairing the smaller photos with a full page photo where I use the currently through the lens. That's some of the word art that is in the digital kit there. And I'm going to cut this out and add it into my album. So it's going to be a 2-page spread with the large full-page photo over there, and then add on the smaller photos over here. All right, first step here is I am trimming out my full-page photo. In this video, too, just in case you were questioning that, I have 3 projects that I'm sharing with you. So what I'm doing here is I'm trimming out this first one, right? I did the full page photo, and then I'm trimming out 6 of those flower photos. I really love how they turned out. So I'm getting them organized on the page there. Those are 1.5 inches wide by 2.5 inches tall. I'm picked out 6 of the 8 of them, and then I am rounding the corners on the bottom. You can see that the measurements that I use, that 1.5 by 2.5, is a little bit smaller than the actual size of the phones themselves, so there is a little bit of white around the border, which was what I was looking for. Some of the other examples from our contributors today have some different measurements, so you can really kind of decide what you want. I also took one of the extra flower photos that I had, went ahead and trimmed that out and used the corner rounder around the outside edge, and I'm going to adhere that right above my journaling on that full page photo. So on the full page photo, I added on the currently through the lens word art, and then wrote my journaling directly on there before I printed it out. Again, using foam adhesive. Using foam adhesive for the other side too, and I'm going to go through and add those all onto the back, and then I will peel off the little protective film on there and then add those on. I love pages like this that include repetition. You could use those phones for photos. You could put stories in there. You could have a combination of photos and words on there as well. Lots of different things that you could do on that one. All right, next page here. For the next page, what I wanted to do is I wanted to use the photo story journal card with the camera on it and turn that into a 3x8, which, as you can see, I opened the 3x4 card in Photoshop and then just made the actual page or the foundation itself bigger. So it's 3x8. And then I'm going to use one of the page attachers from our shop. I like to cut those in half. You don't have to fold them over. You can simply cut them in half and then remove the adhesive strip there. I decided to do this instead of adding a page protector, which I could have done also, and you could do that if that makes more sense for what you are putting together. But I do like having things outside of the page protectors. On top there, I pulled out a pattern paper. This is from the Labels scrapbook kit, and I'm going to set up something on the back of that 3x8. Just talking briefly about the photos here too. This was a cool photo that Aaron took. He took the first one of himself. This is him standing outside his office in our backyard. There's a door that goes, a glass door that goes into his office, and he took a picture, and it had these really cool reflections of himself, reflections of the inside of the office, reflections of the camera. And so I went ahead and also did the same picture. So we have these 2 full page pictures that are paired next to each other. Next up, I'm taking some of the label circles from the Story Play photography kit. I'm using an old stamp set for the numbers on there, and then I am stamping with Columbia ink, so it's pretty light on here. It's a little bit darker when you're seeing it in person. I'm using the camera stamp from the photography stamp set, and then I'm just writing a couple things on here, like I love how Aaron is a playful photographer. Like, that's a really fun thing about him. He really enjoys playing around with photos. I also said thank you for seeing me. I liked that, just something about that, seeing the reflections. Reflections are such a fun way to play with photography too. And then I just said, adore your own creative spirit, or your creative spirit. So just a couple of little reflections. I also grabbed a chipboard piece that is from my stash. I think that was from the January Stories by the Month kit this year. And it says, this is what's real right now. So on the back of those labels, I am going ahead and I am adding some more foam adhesive, and then I'm going to adhere those down in a line with that chipboard piece on the back, really to finish off this particular page. So I have the 2 full page photos with my journaling in the middle, where I took one of the journal cards from the kit, turned it into a 3x8, and then on the back I'm having a little bit of a play area, kind of a playful story area. Then I'm adding an Avery index tab along the outside edge. That is something that I love to add to often to pages that are a different size inside the album. And then I'm going to use one of the stamps from the stamp set, the Story Play stamp set there that says the story of this photo. I'm just going to stamp that twice using our Black Butte ink and slip that inside of the Avery index tab to finish this one off. Again, there are photos on my blog if you want to see what these look like in the end. So love how that one turned out. I also decided I wanted to do one more, and for this one I printed another full page photo. This is from when Betty and I went paddleboarding recently. Printed out that full page photo, and then I'm using the transparency that we had available. It's part of a little bundle, a transparency bundle, black and white, and I think there was some gold on there too, gold and silver. I'm going to go ahead and punch the holes, and then I'm going to use a journal card on the front of the transparency, which I am also going to pair then another 3x4 photo on the back. So I'm rounding the corners of all of these of this particular journal card just because I like that look. And then here's the 3x4 companion photo that I printed out that I am rounding the corners of also, and this is going to be adhered on the back of the transparency. So on the front of the transparency, I'll have a journal card where I can write in my story using rolling adhesive to adhere this down on there. And then on the back, I can also add my 3x4 on my 3x4 photo there. So it's kind of nice to have a little companion photo, just a different way of having a full page photo also, right? A different way of adding in a full page photo and just having one transparency that layers on the top of it that holds both the story and another photo. I added on one of the chipboard pieces there, and then I'm going to write my journaling directly onto the journal card, just talking a little bit about my first adventure with our dog Betty on the paddleboard, which is something that I've been looking forward to a long time. I had very high hopes that it would be something that she would like, and I wasn't surprised at all that she did. Definitely, labs are often water dogs, but she also just has such a great chill personality, and she's such an observer that for her to be able to go sit on the paddleboard, she just really loved it. And so that was something that made me also super, super happy. So writing a little bit about that on here. One of the things that I love about this particular setup for a page is I love being able to have a big focal photo that maybe has some embellishments on it, or maybe it doesn't. That's always going to be up to you. And then being able to use a fun pattern transparency to hold my story, right? It's got the journaling right on top of a 3x4 photo. You probably have, 3x4 journaling card, which you probably have others of these in your stash, that you could use this idea on more than one project, right? Where it's maybe you have, whether it's one full page photo or two full page photos in a spread. And then you can pair that like I did on the back with the other photo. So adding the journaling on there. Then I took a tab sticker. This was, I think, from May last year. I still have some extras of those. And I'm cutting this one in half because I want to have half of it on the front side and then half of it on the back side. That says moments on there. And I'm just pulling up a little bit on the photo and the journal card to be able to stick that underneath there. I love that pop of yellow on there. I think that turned out really cute as well. In addition to that, I did decide to add a chipboard piece onto my main photo. So I'm adding that on there. It says, so thankful for this image. And then I went through my word phrase stickers and picked out a couple from a couple of the clear sets. This first one says, following my heart, which is what I felt about the paddleboard and Betty, and then so happy underneath. So kind of just a few different ways, 3 different ways that you can use some of those products that are included in our Story Play photography kit. As always, let me know if you have questions in the comments below.